All right. I think Mark told you, for anybody that was here earlier, I think we want you to go ahead and put your Park Alpha code behind your full name. So if you want to click in the icon just to the right of the attendee list, edit my information, and put in your full name and Park Alpha, that would be terrific. If you're attending with a group, please go ahead and email the training team at pfmd_AMP_training_team@nps.gov, and they're going to want your name, your full name, and your DOI talent username. So if you could send that on over there if you're attending with a group, they'll get you credit for attending. Now, just a few basics for the webinar. A lot of you have seen this before. Thanks, Nona. Nona has put in the email link for contacting the training team for any attendees you have in a group. If you want to use the chat pod, please feel free. We've got folks that will help me be watching that. And then we will also have time to have questions throughout. So we're going to have a demonstration live in FMSS at the end of this presentation. And also, just remember, when you type in your questions in the chat pod, everybody should be able to see them. If anyone's having technical issues, the numbers appearing on the screen at the Epley Institute IT rep can help you at 812-855-5980. So if you could just mute your speakers but not place us on hold, that would be terrific too. Our learning objectives for today. We want to show you how to create a work order in FMSS, a project work order. We want to show you how to bundle work orders in the PST and to demonstrate how to queue and dequeue a project. Why are we moving into FMSS for the PST? Well, first off, for us end users, we're going to have reduce the number of individual systems we need to sign into and access. With that embedded PST in FMSS, it's going to improve our data integration, and it's going to improve the communication between FMSS and PMIS. Also, the new PST improves our ability to search and compare work orders and projects. You're going to see some information in here further on that was previously hidden, and I personally really like the way it looks. So what's different? The projects are still being bundled in PST. The only difference is the project scoping tool application is now gone. It is now embedded in the FMSS. The projects are going to be created using a project work order, and it serves as the parent for the bundle. Some of the clickologies changed. So maybe a few clicks that you're used to doing are going to appear differently, but you are still bundling with the PST to import projects or queue projects into PMIS. And then the previously hidden data elements are now going to be displayed. We'll be showing you those. And there's no longer the PST work order tracking application. You're going to notice that is a difference in FMSS as well. The work orders are going to be bundled using a special work order parent. So it's going to have a work order type of PJ, project work order. You're going to initiate it by clicking the new project icon. You can see that on the screenshot that I have below. You can see the new, and most of us are used to seeing this icon where it's got the number sign and the little yellow star in the upper left-hand corner. And you're going to be also bookmarking to add your relevant work orders to a bundle to add to your project. Now when you go into FMSS, PST is live in production. So when you go to the Go To selection and you hit the drop down, you're going to go to work orders. And in work orders, you're going to be able to go to PST. Now, if you cannot see that for any reason, it is live in production, so please contact the FMP Help Desk, and they will help you in case your profile didn't cross over correctly. That actually happened to me. I was one of the few that didn't cross over correctly to begin with, and the help desk fixed it right away. So you can see here on the screenshot that you're seeing a new project work order. From this screenshot, we have gone into the PST application and we've clicked to start a new project. So what we're doing is we're building the parent PJ work type work order. And the first thing you want to do is start with your project title. Here. You're also going to want to put in your project description. So the next place you're going to go is the long description icon. You're going to select it. It's going to open up our long description window where you can type your project description. These are required fields that we're describing. Then we go to our initial planned fiscal year. It's just like what we did in the PST before. If we are creating a project that we would like to have the requested funding year start in 2022, that's what we would put in this. So once we've entered these, you've entered your project title, you've entered your long description, your project description, and you've entered your initial planned fiscal year. Now you want to click Save. When you click Save, it's going to open up the project contact and the project contact phone so that you can enter that information as well. And they are required. Once you've entered in your project contact and project contact phone number, you're going to hit Save again. Now what you might want to do is save your project work order number. So, and your PST ID number also will be auto-generated once you've saved. So go ahead and denote that for your future use. Now we want to add work orders to our project. We have our parent project work order created. We're ready to assign work orders to it. So there are two ways to do this. You can use the shortcut for advanced search, or you can go to the shortcut that's identified right here that says View Unassigned Work Orders. So you're going to want to see unassigned work orders in order to be able to select the bundle of work orders you want for your project. When you're going to view unassigned work orders, you're going to see them all. So as you can see in this example, this screenshot, we're seeing work orders that have different statuses: waiting approval, completed, waiting cost. But we want to see costed work orders. Nothing's changed in the fact that we need to attach costed work orders to a project bundle in order to queue it and import it into PMIS. So over here, to the left, you're going to see a bookmark icon. So it's basically the leftmost column is going to have that bookmark icon, and that's how you're going to select work orders. So you might want to go ahead and filter your unassigned work orders results and have a status of costed, and then only see costed work orders, and then go through and start to bookmark the work orders you want to select. It's also been recommended that you use naming conventions in your work order description. I think this is a great idea because it will help you filter your results further, and you can come closer to the work orders quicker that you want to bundle. The last thing circled up here is a bookmarks icon at the top, just below your tab, and you're going to see that it says bookmarks. Once you click on that, you're going to be able to see which work orders you have bookmarked. That's going to give you the opportunity to review how many you have. If you like the ones you selected, you can delete off of that list at that point. We've also come back to the View Project screen. So we've gone from View Unassigned Work Orders to View Projects, where you're going to be able to access your parent project work order once again. So this screenshot, this is the message that you're going to get when you're bundling the results of bookmarking the work orders you selected in costed status have been bundled and they've been placed into the current project. So once you see this, you know that your project work orders are now attached and part of the hierarchy for your work order project type parent. Now, once they're attached, you can see here, if you go to the Project Details tab, you're going to be able to see the child work orders that you've attached to this project parent. In this example, there are 2 work orders attached. Now we've gone back over to the project screen, and I want to tell you that this is what you're going to see once you have calculated the project score. So those buttons are grayed out here, but you're going to see it in a great example live in the system from Carrie. So you'll be seeing these step by step. But once we've calculated, I want you to notice some things. These are those previously hidden fields. And the DM% in this particular case is 0. The CI% here, capital improvement, is 100. You'll be able to see your estimate costs. Here's the roll-up of the 2 work orders associated with this project bundle. So if you were doing a RecV project, for example, you want to pay attention to this screen because you want to see if your DM% is adequate. You want to see that your tool costs are 0. And then you can start to see what your CIS score is. So you have the CIS score showing here and the attachment G score here. How's everybody doing so far? Once we get through these PowerPoints, we're going to be doing the live demonstration, so I think that'll be bring it all together for you. Now, one of the things you're going to note, once you have queued the project, you're going to see that your parent work order now starts with capital PMIS : and that's a naming convention. It's going to help you search within the system for parent work orders in the future, and it's not something that's going to be visible in PMIS. This is something that lives in FMSS only. So we can see all of the particular icons. You can start to see the shortcuts here that we're going through this process of calculating the score, queuing. Your D2 buttons and your delete project buttons are here. So is PMIS details. When you start to get your live demonstration, they're going to show you what this PMIS details screen looks like. It's going to show you what the project looks like once you have it in PMIS. So now I think we can go to Carrie, and she can do the live demo.
Sure, be more than happy to.
Thanks, Carrie.
So I'm not sure if Laura Lee, I know a lot of you, but my name is Carrie Shandor. I work for WASO Budget, and particularly the PMIS support team. So I'm involved a lot with PMIS, and I have a lengthy facility background going back to 2004 or so. So I've been a long-time FMSS user, PST user, and PMIS user. So I'm going to demo PST primarily. I'll show you a little bit in PMIS because there's one thing that has changed in PMIS. Hopefully everybody can see my screen okay. I got to log in. As you all know, Maximo times this out quickly, so that seems like a really long password. Okay. So as soon as I get in, we'll show you how to get to the PST and go through the steps of creating a project. I'll caveat this with I'm not exactly going to probably match the title of my work orders. Like it's not going to be what would be considered a valid project, but I'm going to grab work orders that I can see there. So when you log into PST, one of the important things that you want to make sure, especially if you are a user with multiple profiles in FMSS, is that before you begin, make sure that you are on the correct profile for the park that you want to work on. Because when you create the bundle, it'll be based on the profile of the current park. So in this case, I am with Death Valley, and I'm going to go ahead and stick with them. So I apologize if there are any Death Valley people on the phone. And then to get to the actual project scoping tool itself now, you'll select your go-to, you'll select work orders, and then you'll select project scoping tool PST at the bottom. If you don't see this icon or this menu option, it's possible that there may have been a problem or you did not previously have PST access. But if you did have PST access in the old system and this is missing, please contact the FMP help desk just in case. They can research and get your role restored if that is the case. All roles should have been converted over this past weekend when they moved this into FMSS. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. You also notice there is no PST work order tracking, so we'll be using the project scoping tool application and we'll be using the work order tracking application. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and open the project scoping tool. And so to begin, you can click your View Projects button here on the left side, and that's going to show you your existing projects. Now, you could have started your project or you may need a new one completely. And you can bundle work orders before or after you have created a new project. Just keep in mind that when you start bundling, you're bundling for one project at a time. So don't bundle work orders thinking you're going to be able to put them in specific projects. When you bookmark them, that's going to be only for one project. It's going to put all those work orders into one project. So if I wanted to go ahead and start by creating my project, I can do that. So I'll click the new project icon here, and that'll generate that PJ work order. So slightly different order of operations. Instead of you guys generating a project by creating the PST project ID, you're going to generate your project by creating the project work order, your PJ. The PST project ID is automated. It'll show up once you save the project. Still needed for the interface with PMIS, so that's why that value is still there. But you guys aren't creating that, just automated in the system. So go ahead and enter your project title. See, now I'm like, got to put something in that makes sense, but I probably shouldn't bother. All right, so you put in your title, and then you'll notice the description field looks like it's editable. It's a big open box down here at the bottom, but it's not really. So you'll want to click the long description icon. If you don't do that, the title is going to go into your description field because it is a required field to queue up your project and send it to PMIS. Without the description, PMIS can kill the project. So it's automated to throw the title into the description field in the event that you don't enter one. But as you know, when you first bundle a project, you can start off your project description, and that's going to go over to PMIS. So none of the rules have technically changed with how PMIS and PST talk to each other. It's just some of the clickology in FMSS has changed. So if you click the long description icon, then here I can enter my long description. Then select OK when you're done. And then we're going to enter the initial planned fiscal year. And then we can either enter it in manually, or we can select the pick list and pick from the calendar years. Once you've done these first initial steps, hit your Save button. And then the project contact and project contact phone are going to open up. So then you're going to enter those. These are also go over to PMIS, just like they always have. And then save again. And I think somebody mentioned it on one of the earlier calls, you know, Maximo is still the same in that regard. You probably want to save fairly frequently so as not to lose your data. Okay, at this point, this is really all we can do in this project because we have not bookmarked any work orders yet. So I'm going to return to the List tab here. And then I'm going to click on View Unassigned Work Orders. And this is going to bring up every work order that's available in the system that is not assigned to a PMIS project already. So obviously not everything is valid, and as Laura Lee pointed out, one of the good filters to put in is let's start looking for the costed work orders. Hopefully by the time you're ready to create your projects and bundle it, you've already created those cost estimates and put that work order back into costed status. You can obviously refine further by location or whatever you want to do. I'm just going to go ahead and bundle some that are showing up here right on the front screen. So when I want to bookmark, I just click the Add to Bookmarks icon on the left-hand side, and you're going to do it one at a time. So there's no way to currently select multiple work orders at the same time. And as Laura Lee pointed out, now that I've booked 4, if you get interrupted or you can't remember which ones you have added as you've been maneuvering around or changing your filters, at any time once you've started bookmarking, click this Bookmarks button here. And that's going to show you your current list of work orders that are in this bundle, basically, I guess is the way to put it. This is what's going to be bundled into this project. If you don't like it, you want to remove one, just click the Delete icon. It'll ask you if you're sure, and then when you think that looks good, or if you think you need to add some other ones, you can select OK, continue bookmarking, or we can go to the project. So if I wanted to return to the project, if I had noted my project work order number, I could plug it in here in the Find field, but I didn't. So I got to go back to the View Projects button and go find the one that I just wrote up. And I can, it should be this one, Never Queued. So it's here up at the top. So I'll click on the project work order number, and it'll bring the project back up. And now you'll notice that the Bundle Bookmark Work Orders button is available. So I can click on that, and that's going to bring in those work orders that we bookmarked. Should get a message that says you're okay. And then if I switch to the Project Details tab, I'll see those 3 work orders that we added. So there are our work orders that we've assigned. And we can view some details by clicking the little caret icon there to the left. And we can see some details, but we can't really edit a whole lot here. But we can see what it does say. You'll also notice that in this tab, once we calculate the project score, we're going to see the scores at the individual work order. So that's something we didn't see in the past. But now you're going to see that scoring at the work orders. Also, when you calculate, if there's any data issues, you should receive an error and then be taken to a log of the errors so you know what you need to fix on those work orders. If I wanted to go ahead, I can calculate the project score from here if I wanted to. Obviously, let me go back to the project tab just so we can see it show up there. So if I click the calculate project score, then it's going to generate my CIS score and my attachment G, which is in PMIS is what we refer to as the DOI score. And this is going to be sent over to PMIS. And before we couldn't see the attachment G score in the PST, so we can see that now. And obviously we'll also see the DM and CI percent show up. That's also something that was in the background of the PST, but was not visible to the users. And so all this data comes over to FMSS or PMIS the way that it's showing on the screen. We get this total project cost from PST, we get the CIS score, the DOI score, and so forth. Now, if at any time when your project is either dequeued or you haven't queued it yet and you want to change your work orders, then I would recommend that you recalculate your project score. It's not automated like it was with the legacy PST. So anytime you're making a significant change, like changing your work types and so forth, you're going to want to calculate that project score again before you queue. Let's see, we can obviously delete projects that we haven't queued before. If you've decided that you didn't like that and you want to start it over or you want to start a different one. You can delete a project before it's been queued. Otherwise, after it's been queued and imported to PMIS, you'll always want to start the deletion on the PMIS side first and then come into PST, select this delete project button, and then it will automatically release your work orders for use in another project or however you see fit. Once your project is ready, actually I'm gonna back up. Before we queue this project up, I'm gonna go back to the list tab. So there was a question yesterday about, well, what if I needed to amend the work order that I put in the project? So you don't have to take it off the project to amend it. If I go back to the list tab and I go to the view assigned work orders, and this will bring up the work orders that we did assign, and they do have to be here at the top, thankfully. But I can actually come from the PST application, I can open this work order, and then I can edit some of the fields. So I should be able, if it's typically you should be able to view, and maybe I need Jamie to speak up here, because yesterday this was editable, but now it's not editable, unless I grabbed the wrong one.
Sorry,
that is the wrong one. That's the one from yesterday, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, it has to be DQ'd is the biggest.
Those are yesterday's bundle. See, now I got to go back to, I got to write my project number down. Give me a second here. I was looking at work orders that have been imported to PMIS, so therefore you need a PST edit and you need a DQ. So let's see. I should be able to do an advanced search and look for Actually, we can do that, never queued. I should have kept track of what my children work orders were. And I apologize, my system's running a little slow today. That's like really slow. Hold on. May have made it too big of a query there. So I should have entered my PST project ID. Narrow down those work orders. Shoot, I apologize for that. And it won't let me cancel. Well, so far, does anybody have any questions? I'll wait for my system to speed back up here. Y'all can still hear me, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. You always worry me when you're so quiet. I'm hoping I didn't just crash it from my side. There we go. Jamie can chastise me later if I just crash UAT.
You're in trouble, Carrie.
I'm about to get in production and do it for show you for production real quick. Yeah. Let me go to production. Now, if there's anybody from Death Valley on this call, don't worry, I'm not going to use Death Valley in production. Let me switch over to PFMD. Get PST back open. Go back over here and view projects. So I think so we'll use this one real quick. 49644, it's been DQ'd. So if I go over to view assigned work orders, I'm going to put the PST project ID in there. Oh, it didn't copy. Hold on. I'm going to crash it again. 49644. Here we go. Okay, so here's the two work orders that happen to be in this project. One is the PJ and one is the one work order that's in this particular one. And if I open it up with it DQ'd, I should be able to do some editing, apparently not. So Jamie, speak to this again, because I think if it's been imported, you can't, if it's not been imported, you can do some editing, like changing your work type, sub-work type, but if it's been imported, then I think we're going to have to remove it from the project bundle.
It should. Now, if it's not working like that, then we may need to send it to the developers. But it should be that, I mean, as long as you've DQ'd it, you should be able to make changes like work type or change the status or some of those changes like that. You should You should be able to do it as long as it's dequeued. It shouldn't matter if it had been imported at some point or another, as long as it's not imported now.
According to the list, that project was dequeued. So we might need to look at that, because I don't think that I have any other ones that are, here's a never queued project, 100041. So if I go to this one's editable. So here's one that's editable. So we may need to look at that. I think if it's been queued right now, you're going to have to remove the work order from the bundle, go to work order tracking application and work with it. Otherwise, I could change the work type here in this particular project and change some other data elements if I wanted to. I go back to the list tab and go back to, we'll just use this project since I do think I crashed UAT. I'll bring up this project. So this project had never been queued. Let me calculate my project score real quick. And I have errors on this one, so this is the problem with PFMD. They don't really have work orders. My goodness. Here we go. Let's see here. So I'm just trying to look at these real quick to see. Let me take, no, that's my project. That's my parent. This is my child. Actually, I'm going to take this work order off. This is maybe an older one. So I'm going to take this work order off. I think this one's the one causing the problem. So I'm going to trash can. So when you actually do DQ or you want to fix your bundle, you can just delete by clicking the trash can and click yes. And then you must save it for it to actually be removed. And my system is really slow today, so I really apologize for that. All right, now the work order is gone. I should be able to calculate. I think that work order was faulty because it didn't actually have a proper location on it. There we go. So now you'll see, I stayed on the project details tab. You'll see that there's now actually a scoring for each individual work order. There's only the one work order, but there you see the actual scoring per work order. If I go back to the project tab, then I'll see the other scoring. PFMD is apparently never going to get any money with a score of 59. And you also see that it's 100% DM because there's only one work order. It happens to be a DM work order. And at this point, I could actually queue this project. So if I queue it, then my queue status is going to change to queued, and it'll send it over to PMIS. And then in PMIS, there's nothing that's different. The steps are still the same. You'll go into PMIS, and you'll use your import facility project menu selection and go through the process, and you can either reject the project, and that'll come back to PST where you can DQ it and work with it, or you can import it, and then once you import it, requesting PST edit, deleting it from there if you want to, doing a regroup and moving your work orders around in different years. That's all available there. If you do a sequence project, that works the same as well. The only difference is when you click this checkbox here for sequence project, then on the project details tab, you'll be able to, there will be another column that's not displayed right now for the initial plan fiscal year, where you'll be able to assign the initial plan fiscal year to each individual component or each individual work order. Okay, so that's it with a PST per se. Let me show you real quick what the only thing that's different in PMIS. There's only one thing that's different with PMIS, and that is this PST report icon and what you see with it. This just happens to be a project in our test environment I was looking at earlier. When it comes up, since we don't have the PST like we used to with the pretty pie chart and stuff, they've created a Tableau view of the project. So this is the details. On the first one is the overarching project stuff with the location information, your scoring. And then page 2 is the actual work order details associated with that project. So this is what you can see in the system. They do have a bar chart. So if there were more than one work type in here, we should see different work type subtypes with a bar chart. This should not require FMSS access. Anybody who clicks on this link should be able to see this Tableau report. We are working on an error with this, but for the most part, you should be able to see this when you look into PMIS. Otherwise, nothing in PMIS has actually changed. What are the blue-gray guys at the top? I don't know what these do. I never actually looks like reports. Project details report, work order report, unassigned work order report. So I didn't play with these during test. Jamie, did you play with those during test?
Yeah, just go ahead and click them. I cannot remember right off the top of my head, but I know one of those is like that KPI. So I think that does actually replace. Yeah.
Looks like it's bringing up another part of the Tableau workbook.
I think some of those is the same thing that you just showed, I think.
Okay. Well, what I was going to do is real quick, I'm going to go find one that is queued. Oh, I sent mine back for revision. I'm going to open one up just so I could show you that PMIS details button since Laura Lee called it out. If you click on the PMIS details from PMIS, what it's going to do is it's going to show you a view of PMIS. So, okay. Let's see. It should show you basically the PMIS project detail sheet without all the icons. So you'd see the, let me see if Justin's is, no, Justin's isn't over there either because Justin didn't import his. It should show what PMIS shows though. There we go. So it basically shows you the project detail sheet without the icons. So this is just a view of what we're seeing in PMIS at this moment for this project. I don't think that we had that in the legacy PST, so I think that's a new thing. There's also some other features like the compare tab. Can't use it with this one, but if you want to move assigned work orders between projects, as long as those projects have never been queued, then you can use this compare feature, and it obviously can't use it, so you're not seeing everything on the screen, but you can move work orders back and forth between these project bundles. Again, it has to be never been queued. And then there's also this PAMP upload, which would allow the upload of a spreadsheet. Again, can't be used because this one's been queued. So both of these buttons can only be used if the project has never been queued. And I guess I'll throw it out there. What other questions are? Let me open one of these guys back up so we can see what it looks like. Is there anything else we can show you? Maybe something I missed going over, or anything that was confusing? I know it was a little confusing just because of my system and I crashed the UAT, but there we go. So that's what that one's showing you. I haven't actually looked at this, so. So a question that came in the chat, is there going to be some kind of published job aid for this somewhere? I believe they're working on it, so it's not available now. Mark, I don't know if you want to say anything else about that.
So yes, what we have is we have created some tutorial videos. They're up on YouTube right now in PST playlist. So I will be sending you that link. Also, we've created a micro-learning, which is a short e-course to help you with PST, and there's some reference material with that. I'll also be sending you a link to that. So just be looking for that. I'll send an email as soon as we're done here to everybody that's been on. Also, since PST is now in FMSS, we are updating our FMSS intermediate course. So that's where all the PST printed resources will be, and the student manual for FMS intermediate. That's going to be a little while before we get that out, so be looking for that.
And again, as just a reminder, like nothing has actually changed with how PMIS and PST talk to each other. So if you want if you want to work on the work orders after you've imported it, you need PST edit. If you want to move work orders into different components, the regroup components feature, and so on. So, are there any other questions out there or anything else we can show you? I agree, Lois, you do have to play with it. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
So we put a short poll up on the screen right now. If you don't mind answering those questions, that helps us out, evaluate how we did today. Again, thanks to Carrie and to Laura Lee for dealing with this, or for going through all the new PST with us. Like I said, I will send out an email to everyone who's participated shortly after we get done here. So I will have the links in there so you can go to the tutorial videos to go over things that are in the PST. Also, there will be the link to the new PST micro learning course that will help you run through it. And there will also be a third link. We have a new way to distribute training announcements. So if you want to sign up for that, just click on that link. It will take you to Gov Delivery. That's our new way of distributing announcements. And you can sign up for that by putting your email in there. And we will then alert everybody when new material comes out for the PST or new training happens, period, through Gov Delivery. So I think that's about it. Again, thanks everybody for joining us today. Again, thanks to Laura Lee and Carrie, and thanks to Jamie for pitching in there for a little bit. And if we don't have any other questions, I think we are done. We will see you soon. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you.